Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to have a quick Q&A session similar to what you might encounter on the GED exam, focusing on how two texts on the same topic use different evidence or interpretations of facts to support their claims. GED has recently highlighted that one of the main areas where students struggle and often fail is understanding how to analyze and compare how different texts use evidence and interpretations to support their claims, particularly on the science, the social studies, and the reasoning through language arts (RLA) exam. This skill is crucial for success, and students need to master it to perform well on the exam. Essentially, when they say you should analyze how two authors discuss the same issue but present different views, you should examine the types of evidence each author uses, how they interpret this evidence, and how they build their arguments around it. This involves identifying the claims each author makes, noting the supporting details they provide, and understanding the perspective or bias that may influence their conclusions. Let's think of a quick, simple analogy. Imagine two neighbors looking at the same large tree in their street. One neighbor sees the tree as a magnificent shade provider, appreciating its expansive canopy that offers cool shade on hot days, enhancing the comfort and beauty of the neighborhood. They explain that having such a tree nearby increases their enjoyment of outdoor activities and can even reduce air conditioning costs by keeping nearby homes cooler. On the other hand, the second neighbor sees the same tree as a potential hazard. They focus on the tree's large branches that could fall during a storm, posing a risk to people, cars, and houses underneath. They argue that the tree's extensive root system might damage sidewalks and underground pipes, leading to costly repairs. In this view, the tree, while beautiful, presents ongoing risks and financial burdens to the homeowners. Both neighbors are observing the same characteristic, the tree's size and canopy, but interpret and explain its impact very differently. In this scenario, the two neighbors are observing the same thing, a large tree. They both acknowledge the same characteristic of the tree, its substantial size and expansive canopy, but they interpret and argue its implications in starkly different ways. The first neighbor views the canopy as a beneficial feature, appreciating how it provides shade, enhances outdoor enjoyment, and reduces energy costs by cooling nearby homes. Conversely, the second neighbor sees potential dangers in the same canopy, focusing on the risk of falling branches during storms and the damage that the extensive root system could cause to infrastructure. This highlights how individual perspectives can lead to different conclusions about the same physical attributes of an object. This is what you must identify and answer questions on the GED exam. That is, how both persons may see the same thing, but interpret it differently. Let's look at a sample passage with questions and answers. Remember not to simply wait for the answers. You get better as you work independently and then do the reviews with others. Be sure to take screenshots throughout, pause the video, and check your answers. In the following passages, note that each writer uses evidence, like data, studies, or expert opinions, in their own way to argue their point. Our goal is to understand and analyze how each author uses this evidence to build their argument. We'll compare these approaches to see why the authors might reach different conclusions even when discussing the same topic. This exercise will help sharpen your skills in critical reading and analyzing arguments, essential for succeeding on the GED exam. Passage 1. The benefits of telecommuting. Telecommuting has transformed the modern workplace, offering significant benefits that extend beyond individual convenience to broader economic and environmental impacts. A recent study by the Global Work from Home Research Institute indicates that companies that allow telecommuting report a 25% lower rate of employee turnover, suggesting that remote work can lead to greater job satisfaction and stability. Additionally, the environmental benefits of remote work organization has found that telecommuting can reduce pollution levels by decreasing the number of vehicles on the road, highlighting its role in promoting environmental sustainability. Passage 2. The drawbacks of telecommuting. Despite its growing popularity, telecommuting presents several challenges that can undermine team dynamics and individual productivity. Research conducted by the Society for Human Resource Management reveals that 60% of managers believe remote workers are more difficult to manage, and half report that telecommuting reduces team cohesion. Furthermore, a study from the Urban Planning and Health Institute suggests that telecommuting can increase local traffic congestion as remote workers make more frequent short trips during the day, contrary to claims that it universally reduces traffic and pollution. Now let's review questions designed to test your ability to understand the arguments. Remember to analyze the evidence used and infer the perspectives and possible biases of each author wherever necessary. Let's take a look at the first question, which asks us to identify how each author supports their claims about telecommuting. Pause the video here and review the choices and choose an answer. Be sure to write your rationale down as well. Choice A mentions that both authors use personal anecdotes, but that's not quite right, as they both use more objective data. Now, choice B, this one's interesting because it notes that both authors rely on statistical evidence from reputable sources. This aligns with what we see in the passages. Then we have choice C, suggesting one uses emotional appeals and the other statistical evidence. But again, that doesn't match our texts, as both lean on data. Finally, choice D tries to distinguish the types of data used, but it oversimplifies the content. If you guessed choice B as the correct one, then you're spot on. This choice correctly captures the reliance on statistical data to bolster their respective claims about telecommuting. Now, question 2 is particularly intriguing. It challenges us to discern how the authors view the overall impact of telecommuting on societal well-being. Choice A proposes a mixed impact view, which might sound plausible, but doesn't reflect the clear stance each author takes. Choice B suggests the first author views it more positively, and the second sees it negatively, which is exactly what we observe. Choice C flips our observation, and choice D misguides us into thinking both authors view it negatively. What's your answer here? Pause and reflect. The correct choice, choice B, really captures the essence of how both authors diverge in their viewpoints based on their interpretations. I really like question 3 because it focuses on how research is used differently in the two passages. What is your answer here? You know my favorite words. Pause and reflect. While choice A and choice C suggest a biased or neutral overview, they don't capture the selective usage by both authors. Choice D is off track, as both passages do use research. Choice B is your best bet here. It correctly identifies that passage 1 highlights positive outcomes, whereas passage 2 underscores the challenges, showing a selective interpretation of similar studies to support their contrasting viewpoints. Now, question 4 gets us thinking about the potential bias of the organizations cited in the passages. This one is a bit tricky, isn't it? What's your answer and why? Pause and reflect here. If you say choice B, then you're correct. Are you on a roll? Choice A is misleading as it doesn't reflect the critical tone of passage 2's sources. Choice C and choice D are incorrect for similar reasons. They don't align with the evidence provided. Choice B is the right choice here. It subtly hints at how each set of organizations might have a tilt towards either highlighting the benefits or underscoring the negatives, which fits perfectly with how the passages are structured. Finally, let's tackle question 5, which asks us to consider what additional research would be helpful. Choice A discusses the origins of telecommuting, and choice C and choice D explore impacts and technological advancements respectively, but these don't directly relate to the arguments at hand. Choice B, on the other hand, talks about comparative studies on productivity levels between in-office and remote workers. This is directly applicable to the arguments made about the impacts of telecommuting on productivity and management challenges discussed in passage 2. So if you said choice B, give yourself a pat on the back. Remember, it's not just about getting it right. You want to understand why the answer is correct and why the wrong ones are incorrect. That way, regardless of what you get on the exam, you will be able to evaluate and answer correctly. When tackling these questions, it's crucial to focus not just on what the authors say, but on how they say it, the evidence they choose, and how they frame it to support their claims. This understanding is vital in distinguishing between the answer choices effectively. Feel free to go back over the questions once more. Leave a comment if you disagree with any of the answers. Be sure to like and subscribe as we will continue to post more videos like this.